Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I will. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, all glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace is SARVATMA Prabhu, and all glories to assembled Vaishnava devotees. We thank you all for being here as always. Today, again, by the mercies of their lordships, we are opportunity to have His Grace, Sarvatma Prabhu, to share Krishna Katha with us from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we encourage devotees to be alert and attentive because at the end of the class, we're all going to be very much spiritually nourished. Prabhu Ishra Prabhupada just finished chanting the Jai Radha Madhava. I don't know if you would want to chant. Otherwise, we may put the verse on the screen and you take it over from
Um, Actually, if you're giving me the chance, I would like to. I would
here.
like to chant Charadha
Yes,
Madhava.
yes, please. You could, yes.
Okay,
Hare
give me
Krishna.
1 second.
All
I'm
right.
gonna set myself up.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Mm.
Charadha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayarada Madhava Lava Girivaradho Gopijana Balava Girivaradho Jasodanandana Bhajajanaram Janam Jasodanandana Bhajajanaram Jamunatira Vanacha Jamunatira Vanacha Odi Jayara Madhava Kunjabihari Jayarada Madhava Kunjabihari Janna Balava Girivaradari Janna Balava Girivaradari Jasudanandana Vajajanaram Jasudanandana Vajajanaram Jamuna Tira Vanacha Jamuna Tira Vanacha Madhava Javiho Jayara Madhava Javiho Okay. So, shall we begin?
Yes. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamash Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. So we are reading the third canto and the conversation between Vidura and Maitreya, and it's chapter 7, text 37. Tatvanam Bhagavan Stesham Katida Prasit Sankrama Tatrimanka Upasiran Kausvi Danusherate. I'm going to just go straight to the translation. Both translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Please describe how many dissolutions are there for the elements of material nature, and who survives after the dissolutions to serve the Lord while he is asleep. This is Vidura asking Maitreya. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, in the Brahma Samhita 547-48, it is said that all the material manifestations with innumerable universes appear and disappear with the breathing of Mahavishnu lying in Yoga Nidra, or mystic sleep. Yakar Narnava Jale Bhajati Sma Yoga Nidra Mananta Jagadanda Saroma Kupa Adara Shaktim Avalambya Param Swamurtim Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasyaika Nisvashita Kalam Atavalambya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanata Vishnur Mahansaisha Yasya Kala Visheshu Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govinda, the ultimate and supreme personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, lies sleeping unlimitedly in the causal ocean in order to create unlimited numbers of universes during that sleep. He lies on the water by his own internal potency, and I worship thy original supreme Godhead. Due to his breathing, innumerable universes come into existence, and when he withdraws his breath, there occurs the dissolution of all the lords of the universes. That plenary portion of the Supreme Lord is called Mahavishnu, and he is a part of Lord Krishna. I worship Govinda, the original Lord. After the dissolution of the material manifestations, the Lord and his kingdom beyond the causal ocean do not disappear, nor do the inhabitants of the Lord's associates. The associates of the Lord are far more numerous than the living entities who have forgotten the Lord due to material association. The impersonalist explanation of the word aham, in the 4 verses of the original Bhagavatam, aham, evasam, evagre, etc., is refuted here. The Lord and his eternal associates remain after the dissolution. Vidura's inquiry about such persons is a clear indication of the existence of all the paraphernalia of the Lord. This is also confirmed in the Kashikanda, as quoted by both Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti, who follow in the footsteps of Srila Sridhar Swami. Na chavante yat bhakta mahatyam pralayapadi atochito kile loke sa eka sarva govyaya. The devotees of the Lord never annihilate their individual existences, not even after the dissolution of the entire cosmic manifestation. The Lord and the devotees who associate with him are always eternal in both the material and spiritual worlds. Let's read the verse again. Please describe how many dissolutions are there for the elements of material nature, and who survives after the dissolutions to serve the Lord while he is asleep. Umagyana timidandasya gyananjana shalakaya chaksuramiditam jena tasmai shri gurave namaha mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande shri gurun dinataranam paramanandamaravam shri chaitanyamishwaram vanchakalpatarviyascha kripa sindhu yevacha patitaram pavanevyo vaishnavevyo namo namaha. So, this is bewildering to some, that the Lord sleeps. According to the one of the stories of the Ekadasis, the Lord sleeps for 4 months. And anyway, there are so many variations that on these stories, but we can take some references that are actually bona fide. So even in the Western liturgy, we can see that it isn't it is told to us that the Lord works 6 days and takes a nap, takes rests, kind of relaxes, wears his favorite slippers, watches YouTube, whatever he does on the 7th day. But in the so the Lord rests. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that a true yogi is one who doesn't eat too much nor too little, doesn't sleep too much nor too little. And this seems to be the pattern. Also has enough recreation, which we think recreation equals sense gratification. We tend to think in those terms, that as soon as you distract yourself from whatever it is, then it's absolutely sense gratification. There's nothing in between. There is no spiritual entertainment. That's why many people, they have a hard time thinking of the spiritual world. Like, for example, in the Western tradition, they think that spiritual world is kind of like an empty place. Like, I don't know, I mean, the Jehovah's Witnesses have one idea, the Seventh-day Adventists have another idea. Everybody has an idea of paradise, but it seems to be like is amply populated by clouds with people on them. That's more or less the concept of the spiritual world. And some think that their family is going to be there, and in what particular bodies we don't know. Like if your grandma died at 89, so she's going to show up in an 89-year body, and your dog died, and the dog is going to be there when he was right before he died or when he was young. I mean, nobody really knows. This is all kind of mysterious what the spiritual world looks like. And to Vaishnavas, at least those who have been exposed to Vaishnavism in their youth or adulthood, not that they weren't born in a family of Vaishnavas, the spiritual world is a 5-acre lot with Krishna plain in one corner and some trees and river. It's all together. It's just 5 acres, but it's really pretty. The spiritual world is unlimited, particularly Goloka, where there is unlimited varieties of everything: relationships, food. There's everything. This one is not going to miss anything in the spiritual world. So it is kind of puzzling to us that God himself will need to rest. God is omniscient, omnipotent, omnibenevolent, but he gets tired because it's a hard job. Being God it's really a hard job. So he has to take a nap once in a while. And his nap is different from ours. So there are quotations that we find from the in this verse. Well, first of all, let's find out what Yoga Nidra is, mystic sleep. There are some quotes from Srila Prabhupada's books. In the first canto, in the chapter 6, purport to the 30th verse, Prabhupada said the duration of a day in the life of Brahma is 4,320,000,000 years, solar years. It is stated also in the Bhagavad Gita. So for this period, Brahmaji rests in Yoga Nidra within the body of the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, the generator of Brahma. Thus, after the sleeping period of Brahma, when there is again creation by the will of the Lord through the agency of Brahma, all the great rishis again appear from different parts of a transcendental body, and Narada also appears. This means that Narada appears in the same transcendental body, just as a man awakes from sleep in the same body. So Narada is eternally free to move in all parts of the transcendental material creations of the Almighty. He appears and disappears in his own transcendental body, which is without distinction of body and soul, unlike conditioned souls. In the 16th chapter, we were reading from a 6th chapter. Now in the 16th chapter of the first canto, the purport to the 26th to the 30th verse, Prabhupada says, the living beings can appreciate the qualities of the Lord as the ultimate goal, but they cannot attain the status quo of such equality. This material world is a product of the Mahatattva, which is a state of the Lord's dreaming condition in his Yoga Nidra, mystic slumber in the causal ocean, and yet the whole creation appears to be a factual presentation of his creation. That means that the Lord's dreaming conditions are also factual manifestations. He can therefore bring everything under his transcendental control. And thus, whatever and wherever he does appear, he does so in his fullness. The Lord, being all that is described above, maintains the affairs of the creation, and by his so doing, he gives salvation even to his enemies who are killed by him. He's attractive even to the topmost liberated soul, and thus he's worshipable even by Brahma and Shiva, the greatest of the demigods. In the second canto, in the 10th chapter, purport to the verse number 3, Prabhupada says, the first Purusha incarnation of Govinda, Lord Krishna, known as the Mahavishnu, goes into a Yoga Nidra, mystic sleep. and the innumerable universes are situated in potency in each and every hair hole of his transcendental body. As mentioned in the previous verse, Shrutena, or with reference to the Vedic conclusions, the creation is made possible from the Supreme Personality of God directly by manifestation of his particular energies. Without such a Vedic reference, the creation appears to be a product of a material nature. This conclusion comes from a poor fund of knowledge. From Vedic reference, it is concluded that the origin of all energies, namely internal, external, and marginal, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as explained here and before, the illusory conclusion that the creation is made by the inert material nature. In the third canto now, in the 7th chapter, purport to the 37th verse, Srila Prabhupada said in the Brahma Samhita, and actually this is what we are reading, so I'm going to skip that. This is the verse for today. In the 11th chapter of the third canto, in the purport to the 32nd verse, Prabhupada says, we should not understand the sleeping condition of the Lord to be the same as our sleep. Here the word yoga nidra is specifically mentioned, which indicates that the Lord's sleeping condition is also a manifestation of his internal potency. Whenever the word yoga is used, it should be understood to refer to that which is transcendental. In the transcendental stage, all activities are always present, and they are glorified by prayers of great sages like Bhrigu. In the same chapter of the third canto and the verse 38, Prabhupada says, Srimad Bhagavatam, however, does not agree with such impersonalists. It is clearly stated herein that the Supreme Lord rests in Yoga Nidra, as previously discussed, and because he sleeps, he naturally must breathe. And the Brahma Samhita confirms that within his breathing period, innumerable Brahmas take birth and die. There is complete agreement between Srimad Bhagavatam and the Brahma Samhita. Eternal time is never lost along the life of Brahma. It continues, but it has no ability to control the Supreme Personality of Godhead because the Lord is the controller of time. In the spiritual world, there is undoubtedly time, but it has no control over activities. Time is unlimited, and the spiritual world is also unlimited since everything there exists on the absolute plane. In the same, a few verses later, Srila Prabhupada says, Lord Mahavishnu, who is resting in Yoga Nidra on the causal ocean and creating innumerable universes by his breathing process, only temporarily appears in the Mahatattva for the temporary manifestation of the material worlds. He is a plenary portion of Lord Sri Krishna, and thus, although he is non-different from Lord Krishna, his formal appearance in the material world as an incarnation is temporary. The original form of the personality of Godhead is actually the Swarupa, or real form, and he eternally resides in the Vaikuntha world, Vishnu Loka. The word Mahatmana is used here to indicate Mahavishnu, and his real manifestation is Lord Krishna, who is called Parama, as confirmed in Brahma Samhita. Now, in the 7th canto, there is a purport to the verse number 32nd of the 9th chapter. The practice of yoga is similar to the Yoga Nidra of Mahavishnu. Yogis are advised to keep their eyes half closed, but this state is not at all one of sleep. Although imitation yogis, especially in the modern age, manifest the so-called yoga by sleeping. In the Shastra, yoga is described as dhyanavastita, a state of full meditation, but this is meditation upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dhyanavastita tadgatena manasa. The mind should always be situated at the lotus feet of the Lord. Yoga practice does not mean sleeping. The mind should always be actively fixed at the lotus feet of the Lord. Then one's practice of yoga will be successful. And two more short quotes from the 10th canto, from the 2nd chapter, and both verses from the 15th verse of the 2nd chapter. The real story of what happened after Yoga Maya attracted the child of Devaki into the womb of Rohini in the 7th month of Rohini's pregnancy is described as follows in the Harivamsa. At midnight, while Rohini was deeply sleeping, she experienced as if in a dream that she had undergone a miscarriage. After some time, when she awoke, she saw that this had indeed happened. She was in great anxiety, but Yogamaya then informed her, "Oh, auspicious lady, your child is now being replaced. I'm attracting a child from the womb of Devaki, and therefore your child will be known as Sankarshan." The word Yoga Nidra is significant. When one is spiritually reconnected through self-realization, one regards his material life as having been like a dream, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 269. What is night for all beings is a time of awakening for the self-control, and at the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective stage. The stage of self-realization is called Yoga Nidra. All material activities disappear to be a dream when one is spiritually awakened. Thus, Yoga Nidra may be explained to be Yoga Maya. And one more quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila. The Brahma Samhita also explains the demigod Ganesh, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, the origin of the Gayatri Mantra, the form of Govinda, and his transcendental position and abode. The living entities, the highest goal, the goddess Durga, the meaning of austerity, the five gross elements, love of Godhead, impersonal Brahman, the initiation of Lord Brahma, and the vision of transcendental love, enabling one to see the Lord. The steps of devotional service are also explained. The mind, Yoga Nidra, the goddess of fortune, devotional service in spontaneous ecstasy, incarnations beginning with Lord Ramachandra, deities, the conditioned soul and its duties, the truth about Lord Vishnu, prayers, Vedic hymns, Lord Shiva, the Vedic literature, personalism and impersonalism, good behavior, and many other subjects are also discussed. There is also a description of the sun and the universal form of the Lord. All these subjects are conclusively explained in a nutshell in the Brahma Samhita. So there is an explanation of Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is not sleep, it's mystic sleep. It's quite different from what we will consider like going to bed and being in a different dimension. So it's considered that the living entities are actually asleep at this point. Pretty much all of them, even ourselves. We may think, oh, but we are devotees of Krishna. We know what's reality and what is not. But actually, until this identification with the gross and subtle material elements subsides, we are actually sleeping. We are in a somehow or other. Just for example, sometimes we are in a condition between awake and asleep. So we may say that the devotees, the practitioners of bhakti, are kind of in that stage in between asleep and awake. That you kind of know that you're dreaming, but you can't get out of the dream. This is due to a misidentification. We identify with the body. This is a tragic event that we suffer from life after life, and then sometimes, or most of the time, we identify with the mind. I mean, with the body, it just goes, yeah, I can't be this body. I'm obviously I'm not this body. But then the mind talks to you, and then you listen. Then guess what? You're identifying with the mind. It's like your eternal companion. Yeah, this is my friend, but it's not giving bad advice. Or when you come up with a good idea, oh, that's great. That's me. That's the intelligence, but it's not you. It's not you. It's the super soul trying to talk. When you get a good idea, it's because the false ego didn't interfere between the super soul and the self. So it's all coming from Krishna. And the false ego is the last impediment, it's the last thing to go. It's so thick, it's so thick that is, the dissolution of the universe will happen and still the false ego will be there. That's how powerful the false ego remains. It's a terrible, terrible barrier. Like having an enormous wall, built right in front of us, and we don't see it because there is some high, tall grass in front of us. So this is our condition, that we are asleep, and there are many stages of sleep. There is REM, there is deep sleep, there is no dreaming, etc., etc. And there is the state between asleep and awake. So we are actually jumping from one stage to another. Hardly ever we are fully awake. Hardly ever. And this state of full alertness and awakeness is called Krishna consciousness. So if you can say you're Krishna conscious 24 hours a day, well, congratulations. I probably won't buy the lie, but I say congratulations. If you believe that, that's great. But it's usually not true. It's usually we are in some stage of between asleep and awake. And to be fully awake means to be Krishna conscious, to see Krishna, to be engaged in Krishna's lila. That is to be awake. So let's, I think I said enough about Yoga Nidra. So we'll move on to the next portion, which is the verses that Srila Prabhupada quotes, the verses 48 and 47 and 48 of the Brahma Samhita. Now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta doesn't give the purports to the verses, and but Bhaktivinoda Thakur does. It's very short, and the commentary. There is also a commentary by Srila Jiva Goswami. So first, what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says about verses 47 and 48 of his of the Brahma Samhita. So for the first verse 47, which I will read the translation again. Govinda, the ultimate and Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, lies sleeping unlimitedly on the causal ocean in order to create unlimited numbers of universes during that sleep. He lies on the water by his own internal potency, and I worship that original Supreme Godhead. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the principle of Ananta, the bed of Mahavishnu, is described. The eternal bed whereupon Mahavishnu reclines is Ananta. He is a specific avatar known as Shesha, who by nature is a servant of Krishna. So these Ananta is actually an expansion of Balaram, and Balaram is Tadiya, the Tadiya of the Lord. He's paraphernalia. Krishna's sandals, Krishna's hat, Krishna's flute, there are different living entities, but Balaram is their expansions of Balaram, who assists his chariot, his bed, everything is that surrounds Krishna and helps and protects him and dresses him and decorates him. This is all expansions of Baladev, or in this case, the bed is Anantashesh. You may think, but couldn't he get a Tempur-Pedic or some comfortable mattress made in Sweden instead, that he has to lay in a snake? But actually I think Krishna knows what he's doing. He probably Anantashesh is more comfortable than any Siemens or Tempur-Pedic or any type of memory foam contraption that we can think about. And I don't think Krishna suffers from any type of backache, doesn't have to go to the chiropractor. Anantashesh is a perfect bed for the perfect person and accommodates according to his needs. Then Jiva Goswami, on the same verse, says, in this verse, Lord Karanavarshayi Vishnu is described. Countless material universes are manifested from the pores of his body. The word Sa in Saroma is an example of Arsha usage. The Adara Shakti here is the Lord's own form of Shesha. The comments are actually short. In the commentary of the Brahma Samhita, they are sometimes long purports by both Jiva Goswami and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but in these two particular verses, it happens to be quite brief, quite short. So the next verse, which is 48, that reads, due to his breathing, innumerable universes come into existence, and when he withdraws his breath, there occurs the dissolution of all the lords of the universes. That plenary portion of the Supreme Lord is called Mahavishnu, and is a part of Lord Krishna. I worship Govinda, the original Lord. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, very briefly, the great power of Vishnu Tattva is indicated here. And Jiva Goswami has this to say about the same verse. Brahma and the other demigods assist Lord Vishnu, the protector of all the universes. In that sense, they are avatars, none different from the Lord. The word Jagadandanata refers to the deities headed by Lord Vishnu. The word Jivanti means that they have specific powers and responsibilities in the management of the universe. You know, people may think that Lord Krishna is ultimately cosmic bureaucrat, that he takes care of the affairs of the universe and he controls what people think or do, or the punishment and reward and all these things. But this is actually very secondary, very secondary. Like the owner, even the owner of a factory in the material world, doesn't really care about the day-to-day activities in the factory, whatever is going on. He just looks at the sheet of production every week or every month and the profits. And if anybody needs to be hired or fired, and basically there are other people below him that take care of all the different details of management. So why would Krishna himself care about, even if one universe is lost? Oh, oops, I don't know what happened. I put it in the washer, and just like a sock, a pair of socks, one of them disappear. It's like the mystery sock that you always, when you get that socks out of the dryer, there is one sock missing. There must be a planet which is just exclusively dedicated to lost and found socks, because there are so many. Everybody loses socks. So what happens? Oh, my Lord, I put this universe in the dryer and kind of, put a bunch of them. It was too clogged up. So, it disappeared, one of them. So Krishna doesn't really manage that. As one can say, with a grain of salt, he doesn't even care if a universe is missing. It's no big deal. There are so many of them. But this is the work of a bureaucrat. Krishna doesn't care about that. Just like the factory owner is concerned about his golf game and his family and his vacation and other things, buying another vacation house, buying all this stuff. So, but not really related to work. So in the same way, when God goes to work, is Vishnu or Mahavishnu. That's God at work. And when God is really God being himself, he's Krishna. He's just a young boy who doesn't care. Matter of fact, he cares so little. And I say this with a bit of an explanation, but he cares so little about anything else that the only people that he admits in his own planet are people who don't bring work home. They don't talk about it. They don't even know about it. They don't care about it. They don't know that he's God. They don't care that he's God. They just love him, and that's enough. And that's the only people that are admitted into Goloka Vrindavan. Everybody else, sorry, can't get in. It's basically like a very exclusive nightclub with huge bodyguards. You can't get in. The bouncers will get you off. If you actually suspect that Krishna is God, you have no business there. So this is the world where Krishna chooses to live, where people do not care. Matter of fact, when Mother Yashoda, under the rumor of Balaram and others that Krishna had eaten dirt, made him open his mouth, and she saw the universal form within the mouth of Krishna, and she immediately started offering prayers. Krishna was just yawning. Oh my God, this is bad. This is really bad. I don't want this at all. Please go back to yourself. Just forget what you saw, and let's go on with our real life, which is illusion created by Yoga Maya. So the material world is illusion created by Mahamaya, and the spiritual world, especially Goloka Vrindavan, is illusion created by Yoga Maya. It's quite interesting. The spiritual world, the Vaikuntha planet, is pure reality, is fact, not fiction, is no anxiety. Everything is, pressed, iron, ready to go, ready to wear. And the material world is a mess, and the spiritual world, meaning Goloka Vrindavan, is anxiety and illusion, but to its highest degree of refinement, which is the anxiety that a moment of separation with Krishna is unbearable, and the illusion that Krishna is lovable but not God. It couldn't be. He couldn't be. No, that would be, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's like some of you have kids, and somebody comes and said, even if it's a great astrologer, comes and said, your son is actually Mahavishnu. You will just kick him out. I said, forget it. That's crazy. That is crazy. So that's how the inhabitants of Goloka think. If someone comes and tells this is God, Krishna is God, oh, forget it. Get the hell out. I don't want to hear about it. That's crazy. That's the craziest thing I've heard. They say because of the supernatural activities of Krishna that he must be blessed. He must be some kind of demigod, or some special person, or some blessed by a sage with mystic power, but they cannot bear the idea that he would be the summum bonum, Swayam Bhagavan, the creator, the origin of everything. That is not part of their lives. So this is the when we think God, we think, oh, most people think Mahavishnu, or they should think Mahavishnu, because he's God. He goes to work. He does the maintenance, which is the most difficult part. If you rent or own a house, you know that to build a house is difficult. It takes a lot of work, takes a lot of money, takes a lot of energy, and to destroy the house takes just a few strokes from a crane with a wrecking ball. And to maintain a house, to keep it nice, clean, decorated, functional, that the pipes don't freeze during the winter, that's very difficult. So that's why Krishna, as Mahavishnu, as Vishnu, takes care of maintenance, because maintenance is the most difficult part. Any artist can create something, any drunkard can destroy stuff, but it takes goodness, takes dedication, takes patience, takes skill to maintain. That's why he adopts this particular position, because it's a very difficult one to adopt. But even that is remote from Krishna's world. He doesn't have to do anything. He's Satya Sankalpa, one of his names. Whatever he desires, or immediately happens. Yoga Maya is there to arrange everything as it comes into the mind of Krishna. It's so quick. It's so efficient. Everything is done so well. But one has to suspend one's disbelief. Because if you are attached, even like Lakshmi wanted to go to Goloka. She heard about it. It's like there was a poster in Vaikunta's travel agency, visit Goloka. And she performed enormous austerities, but they didn't work out. But she couldn't give up the idea of who she was. She couldn't adopt the mood of the gopis. The gopis do not care about themselves. Nobody cares about themselves. That's a difference between Between everything else and Goloka, nobody cares in Goloka about themselves. They don't give a damn about themselves. They care about Krishna. That's it. They don't care who Krishna is. They care about Krishna. They love Krishna. They don't love themselves as much as they love Krishna. And Krishna loves them more than he loves himself. That's one crazy concept there. You know, try to sleep to that one. Krishna cares more about his devotees than he cares about himself. Wow. Even in the story of the Kumaras, when they showed up in Vaikuntha to and the Jai and Vijay didn't identify the ancient sages in the body of 5-year-old naked boys and committed an offense, which was kind of mild, but the sages were highly irritated. It is said that lust can be controlled by some of the sages, but anger is very difficult, much more powerful as a disruption that it is lust. So Lord Vishnu, here in the commotion, he came and he offered to slice one of his arms as an atonement for the offense of his devotees. Now, what kind of boss will do that for you? Because actually, we are so lucky to even hear about these things. This is such esoteric, advanced knowledge. The Bhagavatam is just nectar after its churn, and there is only essence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita is it's just boiled nectar after it's been churned into its essence. This is incredible that we have access to this literature and access to the association of those who can actually understand, explain, and live this philosophy. Very fortunate people we are. Very, very fortunate. If we, I don't know, not if we, if I review my life, and I don't remember my previous lives, nor do I care. If I review my life and put it on a screen as a progression, and all the major incidents are there, all the pious deeds are there, and I can see them one by one. You know, I don't think there are that many, but I see the few pious things that I've done. I find nothing that will bring me to Krishna consciousness. Maybe curiosity, inquisitiveness. I don't find any piety. No planting trees, digging wells, doing charity, studying scripture, bathing in holy rivers, austerity. No, no, no. There's nothing. There's the pure mercy of some Vaishnavas along the way that I did not know, and the pure mercy of Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and his representatives. That's it. Stroke of good luck, like most of us. We have nothing to account for except for the mercy of the Vaishnavas and Krishna. So let's go into the next topic, which is that Srila Prabhupada, in his purport, he quotes, he said, the impersonalist explanation of the word aham in the 4 verses of the original Bhagavatam, aham evasam evagre, etc., is refuted here. The Lord and his eternal associates remain after the dissolution. Vidura's inquiry about such persons is a clear indication of the existence of all the paraphernalia of the Lord. This is also confirmed in the Kashikanda, as quoted by both Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, who follow in the footsteps of Srila Swami. Nachavante yad bhakta mahyatam prayabhadi atochuto kile loke saika sarvago vyaya. The devotees of the Lord never annihilated individual existences, not even after the dissolution of the entire cosmic manifestation. The Lord and the devotees who associate with him are always eternal in both the material and spiritual world. So this is a quotation from a Kashikanda. Now, Kashikanda is actually part of the Skanda Purana. It's a portion of a Skanda Purana. And consists of 2 sections. Purvada, which are 50 chapters, and Uttarada, which is also 50 chapters. So there's a quotation I'm going to read. Actually, Kashi refers to Benares or Varanasi. The Kashikanda of the Skanda Purana describes the spatial and religious connotation of all the 56 Vinayakas. The spatial pattern of 56 Vinayakas shows the cosmic model Varanasi, symbolized in terms of the directions and realms between the earth and the heaven or sky. The 7 layers form a spiral shape. 7 round spiral symbolizes the understanding of reality both physically and transcendentally, and reminds the pilgrims that the resort of Vinayaka is everywhere, but the circumference nowhere. The Kashikanda describes that after completion of the sacred journey of these 7 layers, at the end, pilgrim has to worship Ganesh, remembering there, all, etc., etc. So this is it's like one can say about Vrindavan, that, or about Govardhan, that everything, or the whole spiritual world is present within Vrindavan, a different forest. And so Varanasi is a special place. Benares, Lord Chaitanya was there defeating Prakasananda Saraswati. It's kind of the cradle of impersonalism at this particular point. And even then, even 500 and some years ago, it was kind of a bed of impersonalism. But hopefully at a certain point it will change and will become what it really is, which is a holy place associated with the cosmic manifestation, the pastimes of Krishna, pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So we'll see what happens. So I think I give a pretty comprehensive, not very erudite, but pretty comprehensive view of what we are reading, with some quotations from the commentaries of the acharyas and some of the explanations from the purpose of Srila Prabhupada, that is actually makes it a little more clear, because these topics that Vidura and Maitreya are discussing, they are not always so easy to comprehend or elucidate. So hopefully we can have a better understanding now. So that took the better part of an hour. So I'll stop here and ask if the devotees have any objections or questions or comments or realizations or anything of that sort. And thank you for giving me the chance.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Like you said, it's quite comprehensive because you kind of touched on almost every single thing Srila Prabhupada was addressing in the purport. So, dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations you may want to ask or share, as usual, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. Well, Prabhuji, the discussion today, I don't know, we will not have enough time to go over all the questions I have, because before you started, I already had questions on the text and the purport. And when you spoke, that also aroused many more questions. And the first question I would like to ask is, this dissolution, which is being described here, is about the end of Lord Brahma. That is, after Lord Brahma has completed living his 100 years, then everything dissolves and then goes back to Mahavishnu. That is his breathing in Now, before that happens, Lord Brahma also sleeps. Now, when Lord Brahma sleeps, there is also a partial dissolution. Now, when the Lord Brahma sleeps, where do all the living entities go? Because it's understood that when Lord Brahma sleeps, everything gets dissolved. So the first question I have is, where do the living entities all go? Because we still remain individuals eternally. Where do the living entities go when Lord Brahma sleeps?
To Walmart. It, they I believe they go to the Mahatattva. The Mahatattva is kind of like a deprivation chamber, like they go to sleep, they go to rest. They have to take a break. I don't know if you ever been into one of these. What do they call them? It's like a tank full of water with Epsom salt that it's like a capsule that you get in. It's warm water, and then immediately closes up, and there's no sound of any sort, no noise of any type, and it's a very restful place. I mean, it's not where you would choose to live your life, but it's a very restful place. It kind of reconditions your, all the things. Of course, you're alone with your mind, but I think it's, and I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you, but I think from what I read, I believe they all go to the same place. They all go to the Mahatattva, which is this is like a deprivation chamber. You hear nothing. You're in a latent stage until you're ready to go again. You get a little break because it's quite fatiguing to live in the material world. Quite fatiguing. It's exhausting. It's actually exhausting to go through the vicissitudes of being a family man or woman or animal or anything that you are, with all these complex interactions that happen in one's life, and with machines and with people and with animals, is exhausting. And then having to go through old age and disease and death is it's going to ruin your day. So basically, Lord Vishnu gives everybody a break. And okay, now you take a break here on the road. It's like going on trekking, and someone goes to the Himalayas and wants to go up K2 or Everest. They don't go straight to the top. They have many base camps. So you can say this is the main base camp of the Mahatattva, where you take a break before you go for the final push, which eventually is that you're going to have to leave your body. So we should take this journey as this is a good thing. It's not a bad thing for people to take a break. Yeah. Like in anything, if you go on a race, in an ultra marathon, they take breaks when they, of course, when they do sprints or things like that. There's no breaks. But when you have a project to do or anything like that, it's good to take breaks. If you go straight and you go without sleep, and you eat poorly at the wrong time, and it's very messy, and it messes up with everything, all the equilibrium and the digestion and everything else. So Krishna gives us a break by taking us to the Mahatattva and having us, okay, forget all these agitation from the mind and the false ego and the body and aging and all that stuff. You take a break and then you keep going. Just get a new incentive in life. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's all I can come up with.
Well, thank you. So the second wing to my question, assuming that all the 11 entities go back into the Mahatattva, and then when the Lord Brahma wakes up from his sleep, the 11 entities, I guess, are released. Now, when I went to sleep last night and I woke up, my house is still here. It did not disappear. I do not have to try to rebuild my house. Now, in the case of Lord Brahma, when he goes to sleep and he wakes up, when he goes to sleep, everything gets dissolved. When he wakes up, does he have to continue working like he initially worked to create the different planets within the universe? Is that how it works? Or if he goes to sleep, everything stays intact, and then when the living entities are released, everybody goes to wherever they were before they went into the matter tribe? This is a bit confusing. And if it is the case that Lord Brahma has to start creation every time he wakes up from his sleep, that must be something very bewildering. Of course, everything is mysterious, but it is kind of bewildering position for an individual. Whenever you go to sleep, everything destroys. When you wake up, you have to start building everything all over again. Is that how it works?
It would be kind of distressing to live in Tornado Alley without the Amish to help you rebuild your barn. I think it is. I think it is. I had no technical information on how those things work, but I'm pretty sure that there is no. First of all, if everything gets destroyed and he has to build, Lord Brahma's body is made out of intelligence. It's not like one of us that he has sweaty, smelly armpits that he has to, wear some kind of large overalls with a good opening for his forehead, and then get the shovel and get started again with the nails and the screws and the hammer. He builds everything by his intelligence, so he can actually make it happen like that. Like literally, in a moment, he can create, then build a whole planet. So that wouldn't be too much work, as we call it work. But I'm not sure if it actually gets this totally dissolved or the elements are there. He has to just create them in his mind, and it happens automatically. So I'm not sure. You have to ask someone else. I will only come up with funny ideas that will serve no purpose at all.
Well, thank you, Prabhuji. But again, here, is it here? Yes. I'm getting ahead of myself, devotees. I'm sorry to do this because we're going to get there. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 11. We are in Canto 3, and we are in Chapter 7, so just 4 cantos away. Verse 31. It's explained here that at the beginning of the devastation, all the seas overflow and hurricane winds blow very violently. Thus, the waves of the seas become ferocious, and in no time at all, the 3 worlds are full of water. And in the purport, it is said that blazing fire from the mouth of Shankarshan rages for 100 years of the demigods, which equals 36,000 human years. So for 36,000 human years, there will be this scorching heat, which is coming from the mouth of Shankarshan. And then after that, there is also 36,000 years of torrential rainfall, accompanied by violent winds and waves, and the seas and oceans overflow. So altogether, 72,000 years. Now, the question is 72,000 years, but amidst all these things, living beings will be immersed in Maya, still enjoying themselves. Now, these and many of such information will most likely sound to those who are non-devotees to be mythological, because how does 36,000 years of human existence be felt with just intense heat all the time? And then after that, there is torrents of rain. How would people live? We read about the stories of the flood of Noah in the Bible, and that is just some few months, and almost everything was over flooded. There was no vegetation. Now here is 36,000 years. So my question is, how do we, first of all, as devotees, accept these information we get from the Vedas as factual, and how do we in turn help those who are non-devotees to also accept these things as factual, and thereby try to mold our lives in such a way that we do not have to live through these experiences that are yet to happen?
Okay, this is my take on it. In previous ages, like in this age, we live for 100 years. But in previous ages, like Satya Yuga, people live for 100,000 years. So 36,000 out of 100,000 is one third. And some people know how is it to live a miserable life for a third or even half or even three-quarters of a life, where there is hardly any food, where the weather is horrible, where it's either very cold or very hot, where there is rain or no rain. There's all sorts of, there's hunger, there is disease, and they actually see it as part of their life because that's what they grew up in. So they get used to it, even though it may seem unbearable. Uh, it may be that is referring to heat that is, I mean, obviously, if you're next to the mouth of Sankarshan and he's emitting fire, you will probably get a nice suntan, and a moment later you will be incinerated. This is not happening. This is probably happening that Lord Sankarshan is emitting fire and gets all the way to the bottom of the material world where we live. We're in a kind of middle class planet, so it gets hotter than what it is right now. It may get to 50 degrees centigrades, or 120 degrees, and it's you think it's intolerable, but actually in the Mojave Desert in California, or even Govardhan, which replaced the Guinness World Record, where the hottest place on Earth is actually Govardhan, where the temperature reach, I think, 123 degrees. Although Phoenix is kind of like that. So this is somehow tolerable, and you think, well, for how long? Well, take the life of an ant or the life of a fly. They live for just a few days, but it's an entire lifetime to them. So let's say one day is hot, and that's one third of a life. That day that is hot. So for us, we measure time in different ways because of our lifespan. I think that this is, I think not so many are very physically close to the mouth of Sankarshan, and it may rain, but the rain soaks into the earth or just runs through the rivers. It's not like you live in a house and eventually when the rain goes up 8 feet, well, you're in a swimming pool, literally. So that's how I see it. And there's certain things in the Bhagavatam are allegories, certain things are metaphors, and certain things are straight facts. So we have to consult Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu to see which one is which. I don't think that we will come to any sensible conclusion by trying to squeeze everything through our materially calculating mind, just like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said in the preface to the Brahma Samhita, that even if you squeeze the entire creation through your materially contaminated mind, you still won't understand it. It's not a process of, okay, I can learn this. It's mathematics, or it is biology, or it is drawing, or cooking, or how to play badminton. It's none of that. This is a much more complex thing that doesn't matter how large your IQ is, or your comprehension, or your patience, or your openness, or your willingness to be informed. These are things that they are hard to understand, and ultimately, if I may say, I may prove to be a heretic once and for all, but I think that there are some things that you should leave alone. Who cares? Like, for example, if you're drowning, like you're dropped somewhere in the Pacific Ocean and you're drowning, and I come in a helicopter with a megaphone and I tell you, let me tell you how many liters of water are in the Pacific Ocean. And let's make a comparative table to the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Bering Sea, the Tasman Sea. Who cares? You don't want to know. You just want to be out of the water. So read the rest of the Bhagavatam, and that should be enough to get you out of the water. If you are stuck into kind of a technical point or some particular paragraph that we cannot really comprehend, I mean, we can try to explain. And it's, as Prabhupada said, speculation doesn't mean that you don't speculate philosophically. I mean, you understand, you try to understand the philosophy and try to explain how this is true. But it may be a limit to our capacity. So you don't try to understand if it is true, but how it is true. And there may be certainly a bump on the road, and you may not be able to cross over. Will that mean that will give you an excuse to not practice Krishna consciousness because there was something irrelevant to your life that you couldn't understand? Or you're going to be just a little mature and say, well, this is above my pay grade. I don't have clearance for that kind of knowledge, so I'll just move on and do my job. Because this is how I see things. I don't see myself as limiting myself or ignorant because I don't know certain things. I just think this is really irrelevant to my life. Whether it's 36,000 years or 3.5 years or 5 minutes, it makes no difference to my life. I think, the summer in Pennsylvania is hot enough. I don't need Lord Sankarshan to bring down my neck. So I'll leave it alone. As long as I don't feel the fire, I'm doing okay. I will continue. And basically, this is something that we face sometimes. Like people, devotees even, lose faith because of certain apparently incongruent terms and sections of the Bhagavatam or other scripture that they don't seem to gel with their conception of how the universe should be or how things work. I will just leave that alone and move on. It's like a medic that is faced during there is a war, and the medic is going around the battlefield, and he sees a guy that is bleeding to death, and there's nothing he can do. It's just his carotid or the aorta are cut open, and It's basically it's alive, but you can tell he's dead. Basically, it's just only a little time separating them. So he moves on to the people he can save. And he may be seen as cruel. Oh, come on, how can you abandon this? Because he's going to die no matter what I do. The guy's going to die. It's blown up, it's going to die. That's it. Or has a sepsis that is impossible to stop. It's done. So you have to make cut and dry assessments and move on and take care of those who can be taken care of. So if someone that is under your care or under your philosophical guidance has problems with some of the terms of the Bhagavatam and some of the statements, just move on and tell them, convince them. Yeah, this is not really important to you to know. It's okay. You can die not knowing, and you'll still be fine. So these are some things that is not just ignorance. It's simply being practical. Just move on. Like if you're cooking rice and the rice burns, don't try to save it. You can't save burnt rice or burnt milk. You can't do anything with it. Just move on. Make another batch or make another prep. That's my advice. Just move on and do not lament. Do not concentrate or meditate on the loss. Meditate on what you can do to make it better.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji, and I appreciate your answer and advice at the same time, because if we try to do whatever we have to do based on what our understanding into the subject matter is, then probably at some point we may give up devotional service. But that certain things are not meant for this crazy mind to understand. So thank you. Anyone else with something else to ask or to share, please?
Let me suggest that we can now bring other topics or ideas. It doesn't have to be exactly about dissolution and about the Lord Mahavishnu's plumbing system.
Yeah. Dr. Prema Samputa, please unmute. Hare Krishna. Good to see you, brother.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. There is from always an inspiration. Thank you so much for your time, for the wonderful this topic. My own is a little bit out of the subject matter in your explanation to what my senior god brother was explaining. And you did mention first question, and you did talk about in this material world, and it's full of misery. And it reminds me, I think some years ago, I had an interaction with a friend, and he threw the light that I was explaining on something like this, and he said, "Wow, come on! This is why there are so many problems in this material world. Why? In the sense that we see this place as a place of misery, a place of suffering, anxieties, and of course we feel that. But his idea is that imagine we perceive this earth as a place of, part and parcel of the creation, and everything is beautiful. Then automatically that we are not going to Koloka Vrindavan, which is full of happiness, full of joy, full of everything, and we see the earth as a place of we don't belong here. So because we see we don't belong here, and this place is full of misery, then we destroy the material nature, which is part of Mother Bhumi. So I just wanted to hear your opinion on this.
Okay, let me ask you, I can see the prefix doctor before your name. Are you a medicine doctor? No, I have
Ayurvedic.
a question.
Yeah, I'm a
You're
cross-frictional manual therapy, physiotherapy, and Ayurvedic medicine.
okay. Perfect. Perfect. So you know very well that the body is and the mind are a source of incredible amounts of misery. It's almost like immeasurable, and almost unlimited. Like, there is a new disease and a new mental distress born every second,
Mm.
practically speaking. There is, even if we were all living in Oahu in Hawaii, at Waimanalo Beach, enjoying
Oh,
the
my favorite.
yeah, there you go. So five turquoise colors, the water is warm, and the sand is white and 10 miles long, and the view is incredible, and the weather is perfect. But even there, you get sunstroke, and you get Portuguese men of war, this little jellyfish that will sting and create havoc in your system. There is all sorts of miseries that come from one's own mind and
Mm.
body.
Mm.
So even in paradise, as there is a built-in obsolescence. There is a built-in failure that
Mm.
you cannot enjoy the material world. The first problem is that we are not meant to be. We are spiritual. We are not meant to be in a material environment. So there is no
Mm.
question to squeezing this. For example, let's say you're dreaming, and you're dreaming that your tiger is chasing you.
Mm.
So what kind of help will be that I whisper in your ear while you're still asleep? Now you have a Swiss knife. What is that going to do for you? There's a tiger chasing you. Even if it's a dream, but a Swiss knife is not going to fix your problem.
Mm.
You're not gonna fight a tiger with a Swiss knife. Like a 2.5-inch blade. It's not gonna work. So in the material world, there is unless someone is a completely romantic optimist, with about zero gray matter, you can't see the material world as a good place. You may enjoy certain aspects of the material world by default, and on top of that, you have no control over it,
Mm.
because you wake up one day and you want to be happy, but the world turns against you and you're miserable
Mm.
because of your previous actions. And the next day, you want to be ill humor and obnoxious and nasty and alone, and people shower you with love and affection and gifts, and
Mm.
there's nothing you can do about it. This is the result of one's own karma. Prabhupada said, you cannot really understand Krishna consciousness unless you understand that the material world is a place of misery. That's why I had so much trouble. For 25 years, I lived in Santa Barbara, California, which is, like literally the American Riviera. The weather is 72 degrees average all year round. It's sunny, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. Even the city is built with Spanish colonial architecture. Nothing can be over 2 stories high. It's beautiful. Just palm trees, the mountains, the ocean, everything. People are beautifully looking. There is not this super overweight people like we see all over the Midwest and the Northeast. There is no bariatric chairs in the dentist office at the dentist office. Everybody is jogging and going to the health food store and saying have a nice day and all that stuff. But that's a problem. That's a problem for preaching, because when you tell people the material world is a miserable place, they will look at you as if you just told them that you just ate a porcupine for breakfast. There's no question. No, there's no way you could do that. So No, the material world, really? Okay, make it short because I have a wave to catch. I have to go surfing right now, or I have to meet with my friends at the vegan restaurant, or stuff like that. No, this is it's not happening. It's not happening. So first of all, one has to realize the material world is a place of misery. The body is a place of misery. I had an experience in Ukraine. I may have told before that I was actually given a class years ago in 2008, and I was describing the miseries caused by the three miseries: adi admika, adi bautika, adi daivika. And I was explaining Adi Atmika, how the body and the mind are sources, one's own body and mind are sources of misery. And I was explaining, just for example, the head, above the neck. You may have a sore throat and a earache and a toothache and something puncturing your ear, and you have a headache, you have a migraine, and you have uh, just about. And I was going on and describing different. I don't know. I may have looked upon a medicine book to look, what kind of horrible diseases can happen above the neck before explaining it here. And the devotees kind of told me, okay, we got the point. Just you can stop now. And lo and behold, I got shingles on my face right at like 2 days after that. So just to experience what I was explaining. So I had a constant headache and an earache, toothache, and like a knife through my eyeball for 2 months. It was pretty unbearable pain. And this is just because I was explaining something that I thought, this is what the material world is about. So I had to experience it myself. Just like there is a story of Gandhi, where a mother took a child to see Gandhi, and because Gandhi was so respected, she said, "Can you please tell him to stop eating sweets and sugar and stuff like that?" And Gandhi said, "I can't, maybe next week." So she brought him next week, and Gandhi said, "Okay, you can't eat sugar, it's bad for you, and sweets and so on." And the mother asked Gandhi, why did I have to wait a week for that? And Gandhi said, "Well, I had to give up sugar and sweets myself first." So this is the lesson that I had to learn, that you want to talk about misery. Okay, I'll give you a little sample so you can actually speak with propriety and inspiration from your own experience. So the material world is a world of misery, is a world of misery. To be even birth, like people think is so romantic. Oh, I had a friend, a devotee friend, who was calling me, called me from Italy because she was having a child. And we're good friends. So she was saying, "No, I'm gonna have it the natural way. I'm gonna have it in a swimming in a pool, and with a midwife and a doula, and with relaxation and breathing and natural, therapies and so on." And she called me kind of in the middle of the night and said, "I'm dying, I'm suffering this bloody murder. I said, "Get an epidural, for God's sake, just get a shot." And she still thanks me. The baby's 3 years old now, to 4 years old. You know, be practical. This world there's no romance. The romance is like it's like a Valentine's balloon that everybody's holding pins, waiting for you to come near, so to pop it for you. To the "I love you" turns into a flat surface that means nothing. So this world is a miserable place. We may romanticize it, we may fantasize, we may wish, we may dream that it's something better, but it isn't. It isn't. And if you live long enough, and if you're smart enough, before you have to live that life. I actually personally wanted to commit suicide at the age of 9 because I thought, no, I can see what's coming. I don't want any of that. I don't want to be part of this place. And fortunately, I had the intervention of Paramatma that stopped me from doing that. But not everybody gets to be so lucky. So to your friend, you know, tell him to open a Hallmark store, you know, and get all his hopes up and, you know, get all the cards. We wish him well, but he's in total illusion. If you don't understand that the material world is a place of misery, then you cannot make advancement in spiritual life. There is no incentive. If you're fine, you're fine. Why would you need help? It's like someone who is philosophically stubborn. Why would you try to convince him of that other philosophy is better, or that their character flaws in his personality if they don't want to listen? So concentrate on the innocent, those who actually want to know. Those who are, you know, Krishna said there are 4 types of people who come to him: one who is suffering, one who wants money, one who is curious, and one who is inquisitive about the absolute truth. Well, guess the ones who stay. The other 3, the first 3, once they have money, once the misery stops, once their questions are answered, okay, thanks a lot, see you later. The only ones that you want to concentrate on are the ones who are inquisitive about the absolute truth. Those are the serious ones. And the rest you can alleviate their misery, but not for long. Usually they end up going back, you know, it's like a bungee cord effect. They can run, but then eventually the bungee cord will take them back wherever they were. Just like some devotees who came from for that particular reason, those particular reasons, you know, they go back to whatever life they had before. They go back to take drugs or write the same stupid songs with 3 chords by Bob Dylan and the Bee Gees. Yeah, so fine. We just concentrate on those who actually want help and appreciate your contribution. You're going to be very lonely because there are not that many. So most of the time you're going to be by yourself, but it's fine. That's fine too. Krishna is always with you, and he appreciates that. Sorry, that was very lengthy.
No, that's perfect.
So
That's perfect.
okay.
That's perfect.
Sorry about that.
I love the combination of maturity, seniority, intellectuality from the Vedas and everything. And this is what makes a senior devotee. I love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. This actually came by experience, you know, because
Yeah.
I heard so many devotees giving classes that I heard 1,000 times the same thing, just spewing some verses and repeating. It's not like it's boring, you know. They are repeating the words of the acharyas or the words of Prabhupada, but they don't put themselves into it. They're repeating the party line. They're repeating the same sentences. They could be getting deeper and getting some realizations and explaining what they see, even if it is simple. You know, the simplest person, not an intellectual, not a studious Brahmin, can come up with the most amazing inspiration for one's life that could change your view of how you see the world. So that's what when I listen to a class and I don't learn anything, you know, I'm not tuning in again. That's it for me. I have to learn. I have this. I need to learn. I need something that I don't have. I need something that reminds me of what I'm lacking. That's what I need. So I appreciate that you appreciate that intention as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And I believe that is exactly how Srila Prabhupada wanted us to preach, not just from the scriptures, but also from our own experiences and realizations. So,
Prabhupada also wanted us to write. This is actually a good therapy for all of us. It's cathartic because you get stuff out of your chest. It's motivational because, you know, it came from you and helps you recognize that you're not alone, that actually Krishna is within your heart, inspiring you. And sometimes It's just your mind saying stupid things. So you can, learn how to distinguish that too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Anyone else with something to ask or to share, please, before we call it a day? Hi, Bhakta Hassan. Hare Krishna. Please you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
I think.
Are you there, Bhakta Hassan? I see you on mute, yet we cannot hear a sound from your end.
Maybe network.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's having a network problem.
If you have a question that you can type on the chat, maybe we can address it that way.
Yeah. I think he's driving, I believe. But Prabhuji, isn't it so funny how there are so many things we frown upon in this world, if not outright condemnation. That is, if someone is in illusion, you say, oh, this person is suffering. If someone is atheistic, you say, this person is miserable. But these same things are the apex, the highest of God realization, where those in Goloka Vrindavan, they are an illusion. And they don't even see Krishna as God, and they don't care about knowing who God is.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, okay.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm driving, so it just keep kicking me out and in. So I'm very sorry.
Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead before we lose you.
Yes. Hare Krishna, Grace. Please, my question is that it is said that everything that we desire, directly and indirectly, Krishna facilitate that. That is why we are going through this birth and death. And it is said that Krishna loves us and he wants us to come back home. So my question is that why is it that everything that will put us in illusion is rarely available? We have a lot of access to that than what is help us to go to Krishna. Because even in a prison, if somebody, yes, they said this material word is a prison. If somebody is put in a prison, the crime he committed or everything that will make him commit more crimes is not available to that person. But if we look at us, everything that will make us more materialized is easy to access very easily than what is make us go back to God that is so difficult. Why is it like that? If, for instance, if all of us we desire to go back to home to Godhead, this is our desire. But why is Krishna make it that more difficult for us?
Okay.
This is my question, Hare Krishna.
Okay, I'm going to give you an example that you gave. You're in a prison. You're in a prison, right?
Yes.
How easy is it in a prison to be decent, righteous, and morally right? How easy is it?
Because in the prison you don't have access to many things. So
no.
Maybe
I'm not talking about sense gratification.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about how easy it is to become decent and righteous in a prison. That's the problem. That's why you're in the prison, because you're not decent, you're not honest, you're not righteous. So
okay.
in the prison is not set up. It should be set up as a correctional institution, right? Sometimes they're called like that, correctional institution. So in order, I mean, basically, if you want to have philosophical conversations with your cellmates in a prison, you're going to find that the favorite topics are sodomy, murder, and cruelty, not
Yes.
God consciousness. So I think you're looking for redemption without including yourself. You're blaming Krishna for putting you in a nasty place, but you deserve to be in a nice place. So it's easy to behave yourself. You're in good company. You have to deserve it first. Yeah, you are a criminal. Not just you, me, everybody else. We are all criminals. We are all put into a prison. Now, do not expect to have high moral and ethical conversations with the chaplain only. The rest of the day, you will have to basically figure out how not to get stabbed by someone's shank. This is your job. You're living in a very dangerous place that you have not interest to realize how dangerous it is, that you have to sleep with an open eye, one eye open.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the material world. If you want to be nice and go to the spiritual world, you have to earn the right to do that. You will have to come in front of a parole board eventually and have a record signed and certified and available from those people who count. So somehow or other, in this world, because you're not alone, because Krishna is everywhere and is within your heart and within the heart of every living entity, you can make a difference. You can make yourself better and you can make others better. So do not blame Krishna for putting you in a prison. You are the criminal. You're in a prison. No, get over with it. Just get over with the idea that it's all up to Krishna. If Krishna could give me love of Godhead, I will be in the spiritual world. Well, guess what? There's a joke about a guy that was praying to win the lottery, and he prayed so hard that God actually appeared and said, "Let's meet halfway. Buy a ticket first." So you want to win the lottery without buying a ticket, and Krishna said, "No, you got to buy the ticket first." So the ticket is that you actually break the cycle that you put yourself in, not Krishna. You put yourself in those birth and death, repeated, because of making the wrong move. It's not like you have a choice. This is not Christianity where you just sign the dotted line. I accept Christ. I'm done. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. I can be a jerk for the rest of my life and I'll be fine because Christ has accepted me. No, this Krishna consciousness is you accept Krishna or you accept Maya. That's every second. That's not once a lifetime. Every second you make a decision. Am I going to be in Krishna consciousness or am I going to be in Maya? So if you make the right decision, then the prison will look like a nicer place. But if you don't, you're always going to see the prison. And you're always going to blame someone else because it's not me, must be someone else. I didn't cause myself to be here. No, you did. You may not remember, but that's actually mercy. Some people say, I wish I could remember my previous lives so I know what mistakes I made and I can correct them. Well, that's a problem. That's a problem right there. We already have too many things in our history, even within this lifetime, that we are attached to, that we have bad habits. So imagine at the time of death, if you have to give up and detach yourself from all the mental conditioning, from all the bad habits, from all the things you did wrong that you feel guilty about it because you are guilty. And then you have to become totally attached to Krishna's lotus feet and forget everything else. Well, imagine you remember about 1 million of those lifetimes where you did all kind of nonsense. You never get out. So Krishna's mercy by apohanam, by making you forget, is eliminating all that. So you only have one lifetime to deal with. Just make a good business out of a bad bargain. and try to give up this body without thinking about any other things or without blaming anyone else. This is common, that we always blame someone else. They say if you point your finger at someone, 3 fingers are pointing at you. It's true. We are not blameless. We didn't come with like a blank slate. We have a history. We have a, if Yamaraj has to show you your criminal record, you will faint. It's too thick. It takes too long to read. Yeah, so just accept the fact that you got mercy. You got mercy. You got the association of devotees. You got the holy name. You got prasadam. So just stuff yourself to the gills with prasadam and chant Hare Krishna, and you should be fine. And try to find friendship among devotees, because if not, you're going to find it among non-devotees, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, friendship is necessary, but they don't have the same interest that you do. So they will try to encourage you to, break the principles. It's okay. That's fine. Just a little wine, just a little crack.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. I never blame Krishna for what I'm going through. Even I see it's a mercy. But sometimes, if you are so into Krishna consciousness, you want to just go and never come back again. So you try.
Well, Krishna sees within your heart. So it's not your words, it's not even your actions, it's what you have within your heart.
Yeah.
Like when they say, if you are offering Krishna with one hand, he's actually concerned with the other hand that is behind your back. What are you holding back there? That's what I want. So
because
I mean, I'm using you as an example, and forgive me.
Yes.
I'm sure you're Krishna conscious. I'm sure you're not blaming Krishna, but I am. So, I had to speak out, use you as a straw man. So I can, be shamed in public. Yes, I do blame Krishna for everything that happened to me. So I when I get it out, it's like writing, when you see what your thoughts are, then you can see, oh, oops, I have more baggage than I thought I had. I have to work on that.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I understand you, and thank you for your answer. Sometimes the day you think that, oh, I want to concentrate and chant and focus on Krishna, that is the day you'll be more distracted. So sometimes
if you go to the gym, just and your personal trainer doesn't give you anything to lift, how are you going to develop muscle? So if you ask Krishna, please help me, and you expect Krishna to come and give you a massage, how's that going to work?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Krishna is gonna. If you ask, be careful, because if you ask Krishna for help, he's gonna give it to you, and if you ask him for something that you don't need, he's gonna give it to you in a way that you will never ask for it again. Never. He's gonna give it to you. He satisfies the desires of devotees and non-devotees alike, but to the devotees, he's especially merciful. To some of the devotees, if you're a good devotee, and he will give you something that you don't need in a way that you would never dare to ask again. No, please, I got it. I got the point. Thank you very much. Just no more. Oh, Krishna, please purify me. Krishna, please, whatever it takes. Be careful of that prayer.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes we do play like that, but
Yeah, I don't.
Sometimes the trials will be coming and we say, why, Krishna? This is too hard for me.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But Prabhu, you just said something that Krishna is interested in what you're hiding than what you are giving him. But he himself also says that you can give me just a little water, flour, anything, and I will accept it with love and devotion.
Wait.
So,
Wait. There is a caveat there. He said with love.
Yeah.
yes.
So no love, don't want it.
Yeah. So I want to understand what you are hiding. What I'm hiding, is it the love that is asking, or
Yeah.
the material thing that I have at my back that I'm hiding? Maybe I have $100, and I say, okay, I will give Krishna $30 with love, and I'm keeping 70%. So what is Krishna talking about here? Is he talking about the 70% I'm hiding, or is talking about the love 30% I'm giving?
You can give him $1 with 100% love. That will be preferable to the $30 without love, or the $70 without love. I was actually talking about this topic when we had a Sangha at Sahadev Prabhu's home the other day. And I was saying it's so easy to fall in love with people or things. How is that we cannot fall in love with Krishna? Love makes things so easy.
Yes.
When you're in love, you lose the passage of time. You don't care if you ate or not. You don't care if it's hot or cold. You don't care about anything. And with Krishna, we try to negotiate day and night. Oh, Krishna, give me this. Krishna, if these conditions were met by you, then I will be doing better, or I'll be doing this, or I give you this, you give me that. This is on business. We are actually doing business with Krishna, and love has no place in business. Love is you're trying to make a profit. And as long as we try to make a profit with Krishna, that's business. So we have to turn it, you have $1 million, but then you read the Bhagavad Gita and you say, oh, I don't have to give $1 million. Don't even have to give 500,000. I just have to give a leaf and a flower and a fruit, and that will do. No, that's why Krishna wants what you are not giving, because this is what is holding you back from him. The fact that you're negotiating. Stop negotiating with Krishna. Give him what he wants. He wants you. He doesn't want anything that you have. What is the point of your dirty money? He doesn't have to pay cash. He doesn't have to have a credit card. He doesn't need your money. He's giving you the money. He doesn't need anything from you. The only thing he needs is the only thing he doesn't have. It's love. Your love. Your love. He doesn't have that. And he has so many people loving him that are way better than us. Eternally better. How is that? How is that concept? You'll never be as good as them, but he still wants your love. Isn't that kind? That we, little peak squeaks, insignificant insects, that we happen to have good family lineage, good blood. We come from Krishna. So because of that, he loves us and he wants our love. So give him that. That's all you can do. That's all you can give him. He doesn't want anything else. Your money, your mind. Oh, Jesus, spare me. I don't want any of that stuff. I want your love. That's the only thing you have that is valuable. Any of us. What else is valuable? Oh, I wrote a poem. It's like the kid, that takes money from the parents and buys the father a pair of socks. What is the point of it? It's the love. They don't care about the socks. 100% polyester made in China. Who wants that? Yeah, that's how our love right now is. Imperfect, irregular socks made in China out of polyester. See if anybody wants that. Krishna wants your pure, unadulterated life, love, even 1%. Even 1%. And he will give you credit for 10% with 1%. So anything that you give to Krishna, he will give you back many times over. Many times over. He wants you to be happy, really happy. And it takes work. Because we're in the prison, as I was telling Bhakta Hazan, it takes work because it's difficult, because we're in bad company, because we're in a really difficult place, because we are in a weird situation where we have to die. It's not natural to die. And in this situation, we have to make the best out of it. Just find that little spark of love that is barely shining and fan it until it creates a fire. That's what Krishna wants. Our love, nothing else. Everything else is like, okay, whatever. But, everything else that we have, you can put it on a garage sale. Yeah. Love is the only thing that is valuable. Everything else is someone else's garbage that we picked up along the way. And now we are very attached to it and we want to sell it. And we want to sell it to Krishna as if he's not smart enough to know that we have a bunch of garbage with us and want to give it to him. Oh, it's like a Sunday sermon on a Thursday.
No, this is a lot of maturity, experience.
Very nice.
This is what make it more practical. I like that.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this elucidation.
I saw a certain point that Hari Chakra Prabhu wanted to say something. Is that true, Hari Chakra? You want to say something? Besides insulting me, that is.
Prabhu, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this in-depth message. No, I was reflecting on something you said when you were answering Sadesh Prabhu's question. As to that, there are certain things that we just have to let it go, that we cannot understand. So I was just reflecting, like about 50 years ago, if someone had told me that, oh, there is going to be a time that I can talk to somebody from Ghana, to somebody in the United States, and I can talk to the person face to face without even boarding a plane or crossing the sea, and we can have very close proximity in talking. I would have told the person that you are just living in illusion. Something is wrong with you. This thing can never happen. But here we are, 50 years ago, in 2025, and we are here talking to each other. Some in Africa.
But you're in Harrisburg.
No, but Prima Samputa is in Croatia, right?
Yes.
There's somebody in India, and we are all talking to each other face to face. So, it just occurred to me when you said that there are certain things that it's beyond our reach, because our mind is so shallow that there are a lot of things we cannot even comprehend. I remember it when we were kids, when we had not gone to high school, and they were telling us that there is a way that you can put an egg in a bottle, in a small bottle. And we used to argue a lot but when we went to the high school and they performed that experiment to us, and we saw it with our own eyes. I said, wow. So, like you said, similarly, if you come to the right level of consciousness, then these things will not be like any miracle to you. It will be like an ordinary thing. Understanding the power of Krishna and Lord Brahma and all these powerful demigods, then it will be simple. But unfortunately, we all always want to calculate things in our own way of understanding. And I think that is where we have the problem. They're trying to understand. It's like hearing that Kashyapamuni, is it Agasyamuni? Was it Agasyamuni? Yeah, drinking the whole sea.
Yeah.
Drinking the whole sea. Look at this sea, whether it's Indian Ocean or Pacific Ocean. Then one person stand beside it and drink the whole sea. And then after that, he pee the whole sea back. I mean, when we want to understand certain things in our, level of perception, it becomes very difficult to understand. So
That's
that is
easy.
what
Yeah. He had Agassiz had a large bladder. It's easy to understand.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's like going to Universal. I think it's called Universal Studios or Epcot Center or some place like that they have these rides where you sit in the audience. There's a bunch of seats and the screen is surrounding you and you're in outer space and the rocket is avoiding asteroids coming at it and everybody's ducking in the audience and there's noises and just wind and things like make you believe that you're in outer space. And this is some nerd in Palo Alto that created that out of a computer in his garage. So what to speak of the demigods' technology, what they have for us? We see what they want us to see. We experience what the demigods have control over our nervous system. There is a goddess of smallpox, Sitala Devi. What do we know? How things happen, really? There is a goddess that controls smallpox. That's in the Bhagavatam, in the second canto. So what do we know? The technology that they have is amply superior. What to speak of Krishna, that he can do anything. Anything. So we have very limited understanding, yet we think so highly of ourselves and our intellect that we think, oh no, if I cannot understand it, it doesn't exist. How pretentious, how pompous is that? We just need to accept our insignificance. There is great pleasure in insignificance. When you realize that you're not number one, there is a lot of pleasure accessible that is not accessible when you think you're the center of the universe. That's a lot of pleasure that is accessible just by renouncing a position that we do not occupy. Yes, just assume our insignificance. Insignificance is actually good. That's because that's part of our status. That's what we are. We are insignificant, infinitesimal. And Krishna is also infinitesimal through us. That's explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Krishna is infinite, and if he wasn't infinitesimal, he wouldn't be complete, and he wouldn't be God. So he's infinite and infinitesimal through his parts and parcels. So let's just be happy with being insignificant. I'm not number one. I'm not the center. That's the principle of Goloka. Everybody wants to please Krishna and nobody wants to please themselves. They want to please others that are close to Krishna and dear to Krishna, and they want to please Krishna. So this is a good start. Anyway, it's a reminder. This is stuff that we know, we've forgotten, and we need to be reminded of. So it's a good thing. It's like, remember when? Yeah, now I do.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you all so much for making this Krishna Katha even much more tasty. So we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker for today, His Grace SARVATMA Prabhu, for sharing this in-depth knowledge and wisdom with us.
I love his kirtan.
Both from the scriptures and from his own experiences also. Well, next time by Guru Krishna's grace, when we have your grace speaking, we might have to alert you ahead of time so you can set your instruments, because when you were chanting by Radha Madhava, we could not hear the...
I will do that.
Yeah. Okay, so dear devotees, please kindly unmute and we all do this together. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nantapati Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories to His Grace SARVATMA Prabhu ki jai.
Thank you, devotees, for giving. Thank you, devotees, for giving me a chance to give a little bit of what I learned along the way of my miserable path.
Hare Krishna.